Steampunk 101. We call it the old intro to steampunk, just because we're cool like that. I have with me 3 members of Steampunk Hawaii who make their own outfits and do various crafting, weapons, outfits, jewelry, swords. Our member Starrier actually broke her foot the other day and was a steampunker cast out. If you get a chance, you should come up and take a look at it. It's actually really well done. So we're going to run through just kind of a basic intro to steampunk. First of all, what is it? A history, what steampunk sounds like. Yes, it is actually a music genre. Steampunk literature, where it all started from way back 19th century to the modern explosion. Steampunk jewelry, which you've probably seen a lot of people at Con wearing today. Steampunk crafting and woodwork, which is the domain of these gentlemen. And they'll show you some of the cool stuff that they've made. That's fun. So let's just go and do it, shall we? First of all, I have a question for you guys. What do you think steampunk is? And because this is an important question and knowledge is key, I have a key for whoever can answer it. Yes.
I believe steampunk is something that a bunch of very dedicated fans made up, like for a new sort of thing. I don't know.
Dedicated fans of what?
Dedicated fans of more of a Victorian style age sort of thing. I don't know. They
Sort of. How about, oh gosh, who had their hand up next? I think, let me try, one of you two in the back. Do you two want to help each other answer?
Fans, like people dedicated to it's medieval technology, and it's like London, but it was it's like a modern version of what happened if these ran by steam and not by electricity.
Basically, yeah. I'll take that answer as a half answer. Anybody else? Oh, you guys come up here. I'll give you keys anyway. Anybody else? Yes, you have a clue?
Is it a mix of Victorian fashion and mechanics from what they would think the future would look like?
Absolutely, yes. Come up here. Anybody else have any elements of steampunk they want to add to what these girls said?
No, it's not based on.
Airships and that whole time period. So what time period are airships from again? I can't remember.
So it's like late 19th century.
Really? Anybody else want to add to that? Go ahead.
Sorry, steampunk is like, some people also treat steampunk as in sort of like post-apocalyptic thing, like what if we ran out of ways to use technology and we just ended up using steam instead? And what if that happened like in 1950 sort of thing? I don't know. So
That's a pretty good one. I'll give you a small key. All right. So, all these people had answers that were more or less correct. The different elements of steampunk, the overall definition is basically a genre of science fiction that typically features steam-powered machinery rather than advanced machinery. Going beyond that, it has aesthetics inspired by the Victorian era, by America's Old West. You may have seen the steampunk cowboy type stuff. Steampunk safari, some of our members are demonstrating down here. But the spirit of steampunk, it really goes beyond the aesthetic to what is creative originality, exploration, a sense of adventure. The exploration age, of course, was when Europeans were setting out, discovering the world. A lot of cultural explosion happened then, and that's what we take as part of our inspiration. It's also a very idealistic thing. It's a desire to change the modern world. And we have so many perfect things, we have so many digital things, And it's kind of in some sense, it's kind of a criticism of that even. It's like, what if things had happened differently? Where would we be right now? It's an alternate past. Oh yeah, and to be a steampunk, you also have to be attracted to shiny things. Things like cogs, sprockets, widgets, contraptions, thingamabobs, gears, gadgets, doohickeys, gizmos, that sort of thing. Absolutely essential. So steampunk originally was inspired by 19th and 20th century science fiction writers. You've probably heard this before. Name-dropping people like Jules Verne, who wrote Journey to the Center of the Earth, Mary Shelley, of course, Frankenstein, H.G. Wells, who wrote The Time Machine and War of the Worlds, Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carter of Mars. Anybody see the movie? Anybody read the actual books? Good job. Way to go, Ren. I respect people more who read the book before they saw the movie. But just so you guys know, this is actually not where steampunk started. Steampunk did not start in the 19th or 20th century. Obviously, it's a product of the modern age. It's a very contemporary genre. And it's one that plays a lot with nostalgia, anachronism, alternate past. What would you do if you were living in the 19th century but had steam power, but had access to modern technology like the internet? And which brings us to the origins in the 1970s and the 1990s. So this guy named K.W. Jenner, he was an author, and he started writing these kind of H.G. Wells type fiction stories. And he wrote in 1987 a letter to Locus magazine, in which he said, personally, I think Victorian fantasies are going to be the next big thing. As long as we can come up with a fitting collective term for several of the authors that he also works with, something based on the appropriate technology of the era, like steampunk, perhaps. After that, it actually started spreading. He told his friends what his cool new word was, and they started using it. It became practically their equivalent of a meme. And it started becoming an increasingly popular subgenre of science fiction, alternate history, and speculative fiction. Some authors, if you guys are taking notes, Tim Powers, James Blaylock, William Gibson, who's also known for cyberpunk, and the 1965 TV series Wild Wild West, which inspired the 1999 movie starring Will Smith. Anybody seen that one?
No.
Why? You don't like those movies?
No.
So, after all that literature stuff, steampunk is definitely a vibrant scene, and it has far more to it than just words on paper, words on a screen. It actually is a music genre. Do you guys know it? Have you ever heard a band that calls themselves steampunk, or music that you think might be steampunk? Yeah.
The music in the beginning of this panel. The music in the beginning of this panel.
Yes, that music. You guys are too clever. So, I'm going to play a couple steampunk jams for you, real quick. Abby Park, of course, was one of the first ones and one of the most recognizable names in steampunk music. They incorporate a bunch of different genres into their music, and this is their song Airship Pirates. You know, you guys might recognize this. Anybody seen that really awesome video of the marble machine? This one down at the bottom in the slide?
Yeah.
He uses about 2,000 marbles to play songs with. It's amazing. Yes. This gentleman who built the Winter Garden marble machine is actually named Martin Mullen, and he's part of a Swedish band called Winter Garden, who are going on tour this summer. It's exploding all across Europe right now. People love the steampunk genre. They love inventing their own instruments. That's actually kind of a big thing right now. And they love bringing in vintage stuff, vintage sounds. Have you ever heard this thing called neo swing? This is neo swing. Being played in a club.
Yeah.
So, I should make it sometime. I wish. Give me a club and I'll play it.
What do you say? Then just take over. Like, move over and plug in my.
I know the Japanese dance is so crazy, right? Alright. So that's kind of just a little thing about what steampunk sounds like. Started with synthesizers, became people inventing their own instruments, steampunking guitars, keyboards, drums, even using anything they could possibly find for percussion, remixing ragtime, folk, old swing. So it's kind of a creative process. Here's a few steampunk bands if you guys want to write down a couple, if you want to try to check it out. Avenue Park and Steam Powered Giraffe are probably some of the leading steampunk bands and the most well-known ones. And they're also really well known for their stage shows. Steam Powered Giraffe will paint their faces, gears and gadgets and stuff all over them when they perform. Yeah, you had a question?
The last band on the
He's been adopted by the steampunks. He's like a nice steampunk.
The question is, what's it called? Adventure Quest World? Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Do you know what's it called? Adventure Quest World?
Adventure Quest Worlds. Maybe I've heard of it.
But I think that person is on there. I'm not really sure. It's been a while since I've seen him.
Most likely. He's really active. And part of the reason why steampunks love Voltaire is that he's actually from the goth scene, but he exemplifies that spirit of adventure. He sings about pirates and airships and all kinds of crazy, sort of, really fun stuff.
Oh, we have another question, I think.
I have a question. I'm gonna give you a mic or something, girl.
I had to ask because I thought the name looked familiar. I just wanted to make sure.
There's always Google.
Question for the big yeah.
There's also people too with brains.
All right, you guys, you're probably tired of hearing me talk. We've gone through kind of a brief rundown of where steampunk started and what it sounds like. Now I'm going to turn it over to what you guys are probably waiting for, which is the crafters. This is the cool part. Take note. Remember Jacob?
Hi, Jacob.
Oh, yeah. Jacob.
Good. All right, so good evening.
Good evening.
Actually, so, I'm not speaking just yet.
Sorry, I'm doing this part too. So this is actually a presentation for one of our pioneer steampunk designers in Honolulu. He's been a steampunk for actually longer than most of us have heard of it. His name is Kristen O'Connell. He got in the newspaper a couple times back in the 90s, but nobody had any idea what steampunk was at that time, so he didn't get a whole lot of attention. However, now his stuff is blowing up, and he does absolutely amazing, really beautiful, intricate stuff, as you can see from the slide. He layers jewelry, he welds metal together, uses resin to trap little gears inside it. just an immensely talented guy. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today. He does have some health issues that prevent him from leaving the house very often. So I promised that I would perform for him. He appears in key books, Steampunk fashion and steampunk jewelry. He was featured alongside designers from all over the world, and he sells and ships to about 37 different countries. Steampunk is incredibly widespread. Here, it's actually relatively small, even though we've been growing by leaps and bounds. The steampunk genre, especially in Europe, is really catching on, and it's getting absolutely huge. Kristen is Diamond Head Theater's hair, makeup, and wig designer, actually, which keeps him busy the rest of the time when he's not making jewelry. And he is a multiple award winner for Best Hair, Makeup, and Wig Design at Hawaii Theater. So you've probably seen some of his work if you've gone to Hawaii Theater before. His website is at the bottom, designed by Kristen at Etsy.com if you want to check it out. And if you want a discount, if you like discounts, right? You can enter the code Kawaii Kon 20. Take a picture of the screen if you're interested. Now I'm going to pass it over to Jacob.
Right, where were we? I think I just said good evening. So, steampunk, as I've always interpreted it, was a reimagining, if you will, of the modern era or the future era. From what did the Victorians think the future would look like? What kind of things did they use for tools? I use this kind of quote. It's kind of sarcastic from Donald Rumsfeld. We might not have the armor we want, but more you go with what you got. And as you can see here, I've got a couple flashlights, just some regular clothes, and a Nerf pistol. So the reason I chose that quote is because you don't need to spend a lot of money to do crafts with steampunk. A lot of the things I'm wearing right now I had already bought, or I've got at like Savers or at Salvation Army. Things that it really just needs to look the part. It doesn't need to be expensive or really authentic, period. So, you notice a lot of people in steampunk, everyone's got goggles. And, so making my first set of goggles, I took a couple $9 military flashlights, and these are the steps that I went along. I just kind of marked it with some tape, cut the light portion off, stuck them together, and you can see I started drilling little holes in them, little slots to put things through. The copper bands that I have on there these are actually the goggles here, and after we're done you guys can check them out. But the copper bands actually came from inside a flashlight where the battery would strike. So after I got them glued together, I got the bands there to help secure it. I had some naga hide laying around, some power cord, and I just made the little liner and the strapping. And voila, I have my pair of steampunk goggles. So this is your pretty standard Nerf gun, and this is it here. I'll let you guys check it out afterwards. But I was trying to figure out a way. I mean, this is a can of copper colored metallic paint and a can of brass colored paint. And you can see I started to tape up the handle to keep it so it wasn't getting paint on it. And then I just wrapped it with the naga hide. I couldn't figure out a way to make the naga hide stay down, and I had just inherited a whole bunch of leatherworking stuff which had a whole bin full of buckles. So I just decided to stick a little buckle on it, so you can see the buckle just sits there, it doesn't get in the way. But it's still a functional Nerf gun. So, and I also do woodworking, and so in addition to steampunk, I do Native American dance. And one of the traditional weapons is called a gunstock war club. Has anybody ever seen the film The Last of the Mohicans? Anyone? Bueller? Yeah, okay, good. So in the last scene, this guy has it's a club with a blade on the end, but if you hold it to the side, it looks like a gunstock. So I started in the military, so I decided to make a M16 shaped gunstock, and I did it out of koa wood. So you can see that's the actual board as I was sanding it. Cut out the rough shape, sanded it down, and the finished product is done. We did a photo shoot over at the train yard. But I had that, and I decided, when I decided to make my steampunk costume, I decided to go for kind of what would a steampunk mercenary look like. And mercenaries kind of take things from all over the world. So, you know, my headdress is actually a military issue United Arab Emirates shamag, which I wrapped. I've got a Soviet belt buckle. I've got utility kilt from my Scottish heritage. And just kind of little pieces from here and there to make it all work. So I put this up there because it just looks like normal, you know, shirt, tie, vest. I had all these things laying around. I had the tie. It was one of the ones I just couldn't get rid of, but even though I wanted to. I had the shirt for longer than I'd care to admit, but it was just one of those things I never wore. And I had the linen pants and the vest. I picked up that day. But we did a steampunk shoot, and it was a superhero theme. And I was trying to figure out superhero, supervillain, what could I do on a limited budget quickly? And this is the end result. So I bought a $20 wig and used a pair of scissors to cut it down. I got the face paint, everything else I had.
The picture on the far right, the cartoon animation was something I kind of found, really liked it. So I kind of decided to kind of go with that. And some of the things I had, one of the things I had, some of the things I found was the arm gauntlets I'm wearing now are actually 2 sets of soccer shin guards I found for like $7 each. And I just cut those up, painted them, and you know, just wrapped them in the dog hide. Can't really see it, but the one above the shin guards are the, it's like, it works on the rifle, but I haven't finished that yet. So we'll see where that ends up. A lot of the parts from that came from things that I had laying around the house, old paintball equipment, a fan that I found on the side of the road. So that's still in the works. As you can see, the leg gauntlets are old catcher guard leg guards that I got off of Craigslist for really cheap. And that's as close as I got so far. Yeah, so it's pretty good. Oh yeah, and it's fun too because it's as being cheap as well. You can see my daughter's in the picture hanging onto my leg. I got her dressed up, and my son's here dressed up as well. I got them all dressed up as well, and it was really cheap. I got, I think, like all their clothes from Walmart for I think a total of less than $50, and it's clothes they can wear every day after that as well. So you know, it's really easy. It's not that hard.
Hello. All right, this is my favorite part, steampunk fashion. I'm gonna jump over here. Okay. So basically with steampunk, G.D. Faulkson, he is a steampunk writer. He talks about fashion, literature, movies, anything steampunk. But he had this article that he wrote about the 6 rules of steampunk fashion. And with that, the #1 rule is keep it simple. Real life reproduction of steampunk literature. So basically, what you read in the books and bringing it to life, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, what you would imagine and bringing it to life. The second one is when in doubt, dress Victorian. Because Victorian era clothing is what drove that style of fashion, and that was when steam was, it was really taken off in England and Britain, and so that was really what drove that era. So when in doubt, dress Victorian, throw some leather on. Never create outfits that don't appeal to you. There's no such thing as not having enough or having too much. You can keep it simple. You can put as many gadgets and shiny things on it as you want. There is no limit and there is no rules. 4th, no such thing as steampunk colors. A lot of you look around, you see leather, brown, blacks. I'm wearing bright red and blue. There's no rules. You wear whatever colors you want. There's nothing that says that you can't wear pastel blue or pink or purple.
You make it what you want. That's the idea. Creativity. That's what the steampunk movement is about. And number 5, you don't have to steampunk every genre. You can, if you don't want to steampunk the 60s, that's okay. There's a reason that was its own genre. And then, most importantly, again, there's no right or wrong. Just have fun with it. And piece your items together. Jacob touched on the thriftiness. That's really important. If you're on a budget, go to Savers, go to the thrift stores. You can find so many items. Go to Goodwill. It's amazing what you can create and come up with. So, okay, next. This is what women's steampunk fashion tends to look like. This is what you would imagine. Leather corsets, that's a huge piece that you would imagine. Bustle skirts, gowns, petticoats, slim coats, and stand-up collar. No rules, but that's just the typical, that's what you would see. And then, I have a quick little demonstration. If you're not a seamstress, you don't know how to sew, no problem. I took this little piece of fabric here and picked it up at Walmart, put a couple safety pins on it, pinned it right here in my waist, I just gathered here, and tuck, pin. Same thing on the other side. Safety pin. Now if you want to make it fancy, excuse me, I'm going to turn my back to the audience for a second. You can actually take a couple safety pins and tuck here as much as you want. Tuck here. There's no limit to how many tucks. All safety pins, you can just tuck. You don't have to know how to sew to make it fun. And then, these are some of the styles you might see for men. Pocket watches, although I'm wearing my necklace. Top hats, goggles, gloves. Steampunk armor. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, repurposing vintage clothing, which you can find anywhere. They also offer sewing patterns. There's a lot of different styles you can work with. Pirates is a popular one. Cowboys, that's another popular one. Mercenaries, not as popular, but it works. It's good. I love it. You can pick up these patterns from Walmart at very low cost. Okay. Did you have any questions regarding fashion? Yes.
Your genius with the pin thing and then double-sided sewing tape?
Yes.
It's like another trick.
That's a good one.
I just
Velcro.
gave it away. It's not a secret.
That's a good one. Velcro. Curtain
Velcro.
poles. Some women like to put curtain poles on their dresses and use that to pull it up. In fact, Tracy and I are making anything like that. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to show you guys. Tracy, can you come here for a second? Oh, yeah. I just want to show them your women's steampunk fashion. You can see the whole thing here. This skirt here, simple tuck here, add a little accoutrement, leather pocket. You can never have too much leather. This here.
This is from Amazon, $27.
Real leather. I got my pouches from Amazon, $27, real leather. Can't beat that. So this sleeve I actually received as a gift, and it was handmade from a couple old purses. Cut apart, buckled. These two things that right here that look kind of like pistons are actually toilet paper rods. And this guy here over here is from an actual clock.
And then these here, these are just rings by Home Depot. I actually, just as a demonstration, I actually safety pinned these little ribbons on and pulled it so that it looked like it was sewn in. And the boot. So due to an unfortunate accident this week, I actually decided to steampunk my boot. So took a can of gold paint, a copper tube, some brackets, and sprayed it up, put it together. I think it cost me about $8. All right. Any other questions for fashion? No? All right. Thank you.
So Kayal and I are going to talk a little bit about kind of the meat and potatoes of when we're doing the woodworking and the different, repurposing and different craft work aspects of it. So just looking at the list here, jewelry, screwdrivers, sandpaper, Dremel, just different findings and super glue. I've had a Dremel tool for about 20 years, and up until I got into Steampunk, I used it like once every 5 years or something. I use it all the time. A Dremel tool, they're not very expensive. You can find them in any hardware store, and they're worth their weight. We'll go back real quick. Go back to the one with the goggles. And with the goggles, so you can see here in the lower right, there's a little slats that came. I used the little Dremel cutting disc on that. I actually drilled, using the drill on the one next to it to the left, the little slides that the copper would go through. So that was the Dremel tool. The Dremel tool is what I used to cut the actual flashlight portion off. So it's wonderful. There's all the different tools. You can find all different kinds of things. I'm not classically trained by using a lot of power tools, but it's one of those things that you just kind of figure it out and find what you use. Sanding stuff down, a coat of paint. You can antique them. Kind of let Kayal talk a little bit about what he's done. You can use this example on sword that's done here.
Well, I guess a lot of the working with tools is, for me, I think, I've worked with tools a lot almost my whole life. I was an aviation mechanic, as an automotive mechanic. Now I'm not doing that anymore, but I have a huge toolbox full of tools. And a lot of them are manual tools, because a lot of stuff we used to work on couldn't use power tools. So, and like Jake said, there's a lot of things I'm using tools for automotive that I didn't think I would use for making this stuff. But it came in handy. But I think one of the things that I like to do is when I repurpose stuff and all that is, when I do working is a lot of the painting stuff I like to do a lot of detail on the painting. So like a lot of things like the sword here, I really tried my hardest to try and get it to really look like brass. And actually, I got pretty close because this paintball gun here is actually brass. So, just trying to, I spray it, get the tone right, and then try to, touch up the details to get, just some of the tarnishes and all that in it. So, for me, it's trying to get as real as I can with what I got, and it's not hard either, because this isn't, a lot of this paint I use is spray paint I get from Home Depot. And then all the touch-up detailing stuff I do is just hand brush acrylic paint, which works really well because if you screw it up, you just take water and it washes right off and you start all over again. And then to seal it all in, you just use a clear coat and it just covers everything in there.
Just use the rub and buff, that wax rub and buff. It sounds weird. Then when I say it out loud, it sounds really awkward actually. It's like a wax base, and you can make things like silver, completely anything, but it ages instantly. Because I noticed when we do ours with, dropping it and stuff, the wax never goes away. It still looks awesome. I mean, worn, which is what we want.
Yeah.
It's like one of the things that I started getting. It just recently I discovered it, and it was so awesome. Literally, I started steampunking things that shouldn't be steampunk. I don't know, that's a lot.
You're missing example of what?
Possibly my door handles are now changed colors, and light switches look match, and yeah, my lollipops and everything, my shoes, my slippers, yeah. It's brilliant stuff. It's a little tube of magic, and it's literally called Rub and Buff. And you guys have got to get your hands on it. It's dangerous and lovely.
So we have a few more minutes. We're going to open it up to a Q&A. If you guys have any questions, You can either come up here and talk into a mic, or you can speak really loudly from where you're at. Anybody?
Can I put someone on the spot? I'd like to put someone on the spot. Sir, can I come over here? Yeah. I've been admiring your ensemble here. Can you tell us a little bit about this and how you put it together?
I was given this hat. It's called Steampunk Hatter, after Mad Hatter. Last Christmas, I thought about it. Put it on a shelf for a while, and then the white was on here. I always get inspired by it, so I thought maybe I'd dress up as a hatter, steampunk style. And a lot of things I have, I collect. And like you said, you're always collecting junk, yeah? So I have all kinds of junk around, and I said, I can use this because of the costume. I can use this. And this looks steampunk too, right? Your digital camera, which is done in an old style, rangefinder style. It looks like an old camera. Shoes and jacket, old pop gun. So.
Look at this.
That's adorable.
Nice wood handle. I love it.
From a teacher who retired and used to do colonial themes in elementary school, but I don't think they allow that now in schools. This is a gentler time.
Thank you so much.
Oh, the cane. Someone asked about the cane. This cane is from Chinatown, Smith Street. There's a little shop by the parking lot, and I walked in there, and it's really cool because somebody thought it was a sword, but no, it's not a sword. It's actually a spotting scope.
Oh no.
You unscrew this, and this part extends like a test.
Oh, it's brilliant. But you should have one. No, I'm just
$80. Well made.
how about this? Not me.
We have to hear about your gun here, please.
Tell us about your gun.
It's a big gun.
Originally, I was planning to do a steampunk shredder, which I did before, and I had too many things to carry. So 10 minutes before leaving this morning, I decided, have a hat, have the goggles. I used this for a Western theme before. So this is basically a $2 gun that I found at a garage sale. This is a baseball bat, the inside of a kid's baseball bat, and a McDonald's toy. So it's less than $5. This is a fancy design I found for a quarter. So it's probably less than $5, but it serves a purpose.
And it looks
They
awesome.
actually made me do a safety weapons check.
Thank you. One more thing I would like our audience to share. Can you come up? Bring a little aloha into our steampunk.
My hat, if I remember it, thank you. I like that. Is Valhalla. It's it's woven from Valhalla leaves. If you're a native, you probably played with them and then found yourself covered in scratches. This is a gift of love, but Valhalla is very expensive for some reason. Probably because of all those little pointy things on the edge of the leaves. So, this was a gift from her mother. She asked her teacher just on a hunch, how much would I sell this for? No less than $250. But gift of love.
Made to last.
He actually has a brooch with one of the Hawaiian monarchs. Which one? King Kalakaua. He's got a steampunk brooch. Actually, I bought Yeah, another Friston Okano piece. He makes, Friston makes monarchy-themed steampunk jewelry as part of his offerings. So, that's pretty much it. So, did anybody have any questions about what they've seen today, methodology of making steampunk things, how to get started? Yeah.
First get interested in steampunk.
For me, I actually discovered it in the nightclubs. I've been a DJ for quite some time. I'm a nightclub photographer, and I hang out there all the time. One of our goth DJs, DJ Nocturna, decided to hold a steampunk-themed night at a fashion show, and we had people show up with some really interesting things. One of the guys showed up in a full steampunk arm. His name is Zimmerman, actually. It used to be, if you Googled steampunk, his photo would be one of the first ones to come up, and I actually took his photo that night with the steampunk arm. It's kind of a funny story. But I saw that. I love the aesthetic of it. I'm from the goth, industrial, and punk subcultures, so I love the DIY aspect of it. I love the shiny things. It kind of put it all together for me, and I've always been attracted to Victorian style as well.
So I came to Kawaii Kon last year and decided to watch this panel. I did come and I was in the audience and I was pretty blown away by the stuff people had. I was actually at the Science Fiction Museum in Seattle, and I was just looking through their gift shop. They had different books, and I'd never even heard of steampunk, and they had some really good books there, a lot of cool photos, and I just got really interested in it. And then a friend of mine just happened to mention something about being brass and steam, and I said, "Oh, it's steampunk?" And she's like, "Oh, you know about that?" So then I came here to the panel, and then found out about Steampunk Hawaii, which is an organization we have on Facebook. And we do photo shoots, and like a lot of the people mentioned, having that one hat or having that one item. And most of my outfits, I've tailored them around one thing. When I decided I wanted to be a steampunk mercenary, I had the headdress, the shamag, and I was trying to think of, what would a mercenary wear in a Victorian age or in airships, and what would they wear for the heat? So that's why I decided to go with the kilt and a linen shirt that would breathe. So a lot of people say, "Isn't that really hot?" I'm like, no, the air is just really, really comfortable. But with the Joker outfit, I had that orange shirt for the longest time. What am I gonna wear this with? And when I finally figured it out, everything was kind of around that one item. So for me, it's been just a matter of having the vision, seeing something, seeing a wiffle ball bat, and realizing that you can put that on the barrel of a rifle and make it look futuristic. And just being able to see how you can use things in a different way. And so that's really how I got started with it.
Well, I really got started, a lot of it was from watching a lot of anime from when I was younger. Because a lot of the anime, and whether you know it or not, if you pay attention to the details, you see a lot of kind of steampunk things in it. One of my latest ones is, I don't know if you guys heard of the movie. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that one. And I think the one thing that put me over the top to actually really get into it was this guy right here. It didn't help that he's my roommate as well.
So for me, I grew up in the country. We had a lot of Western clothes and Western movies. I remember growing up watching some of those old Westerns. I saw something caught my eye. There was a futuristic type element to an old Western movie, and my grandfather was watching. He said, And I started looking around the house and getting some gadgets and putting them on my dresses and my outfits. And the next thing you know, I've got shiny things everywhere, all over my room, everywhere. And so for me, it started very young. Never really got into an actual group until these guys here invited me to the Steampunk Hawaii, and that was amazing. And it's been so fun, and we really enjoy sharing our creativity and running around dreaming of the future in airships. So.
We need an airship.
If you're interested in joining Steampunk Hawaii, we are on Facebook. That's where we do most of our planning and plan for meetups. We try to do something at least every other month. We've been going to the Hawaiian Railway Society in Ella for photo shoots every other month. We've also been increasingly asked to do appearances at other events. Like next week, we're doing an appearance at Kennedy Theater for UH Manoa's Shazam Dance Showcase. The head of, or the director of that, Yuki, anyways, her name is Yuki. She's actually also the director of a group called Monkey Waterfall, which is a theatrical performance group that specializes in masks. And she just found out about Steampunk. She's so excited about it. She choreographed 2 or 3 dances, and so they're going to be performing Steampunk dances as well. So yeah, if you're interested, look us up. Facebook.com/groups/Steampunk Hawaii. And thank you guys all so much for being here. Have a great con.
If you guys want to come up and take a look at the weapons a little closer too, you're welcome to.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I support other creative people. So like, and that's what it is. I have this yellow corset with me, and I have like
I'm gonna come with you for a little while.
You gotta get
Alright.
Did they announce this? Snap. You just noticed this?
No, I just know about it.
Those guys go to all the different cultures and
I really like that. You made them yourself. These were actually a lot of the hat is from Lulu Hatter. Oh yeah, I've heard of those guys. So it's full leather, really nice. Really prominent when I wear this. This part here rubs up against the back of my head. So I have to tilt it forward. You know, makes me look a little bit more sinister. I thought that's what you were going for. Yeah. You know, for a guy, you know, putting down people, but I didn't want to look too sinister. It's cool though. I like it.
You do that one on me, it didn't work.
I was gonna wear my plague doctor badge.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, I'm really sorry. I was like,